It was a beautiful morning on the island of Sodor. The sun shone and the birds sang. The sun shone and birds sang, and Edward was very excited. He had been given a special job by the thought controller. But the signal was red at the orchard, and Edward had to stop. His friend Trevor was nearby.
"Hello, Trevor,"
Edward shouted.
"Hello, Edward. You do look cheerful this morning." "Oh, I am," replied Edward. "Tomorrow there's going to be an Easter party at Marin Town, and I have been chosen to be the special attraction."
Trevor was very pleased for Edward.
"Oh, you're very lucky, Edward. I remember a time I used to be a special attraction at parties."
"Aren't you any more?" asked Edward.
Trevor sighed.
"No, I haven't been a special attraction anywhere in years."
Suddenly the signal dropped, and Edward felt very sorry for Trevor. And then Edward set off. And later that day, he was collecting passengers at Walesworth Station. Then he saw the fat controller.
"Hello, Edward. How are you today?" "Oh, am I glad to see you," replied Edward. "Why, what's wrong, Edward?" asked the fat controller.
So Edward told the fat controller about Trevor.
"You know something? The mayor of Marin was just saying, you're gonna be there, and so's Harold the helicopter. And he was looking for a special attraction that goes on the road. So Trevor would be perfect."
Edward was pleased.
"Oh, sir, Trevor will be delighted. Thank you. Tomorrow, when you're collecting the passengers, you can pick 'em up and take 'em to Marin." "No problem, sir," said Edward.
He was very happy. That evening on his way to the harbour, Edward stopped to see Trevor.
"Good news, Trevor,"
he said excitedly.
"The mayor of Marin said he'd be happy to have you as a special attraction as well tomorrow at the party."
"Oh my, Edward, are you sure?"
replied Trevor.
"Oh yes, the fat controller said you would be perfect. And also, the mayor of Marin was looking for a road vehicle to be a special attraction as well, so you would be perfect."
"Are you saying, Edward, that out of everything on Sodor that runs on roads like cars and buses and lorries, I have been chosen out of them all to be the special attraction?"
"You sure have, Trevor."
Trevor was excited.
"This is going to be the best Easter ever."
So the next morning, everyone was ready. Trevor was on a flat truck behind the coach, and as soon as the passengers boarded, they set off. The flat truck carrying Trevor was very old, and so were the couplings, but no one knew. And then suddenly, Edward hit a bump in the track, and the flat truck broke loose.
"Stop!"
shouted the guard, but it was no good. Edward, his driver, and fireman were too far away to hear. Trevor was sad.
It looks like no Easter party after all.
Edward didn't know what happened.
"Not long now, Trevor,"
he shouted, but there was no reply.
"Oh, never mind,"
sighed Edward.
"Maybe Trevor's sleeping."
Then they arrived at Marin Town.
"We're here,"
whistled Edward. Then the town mayor came out. "Excuse me, but where's Trevor?" Then Edward looked back.
Oh no! Trevor's not there! Where has he went to?"
Jem Cole was worried. Did you couple him onto the coach?" he asked the fireman.
"Yes," replied the fireman. "I definitely coupled him on."
"Oh, great. I hope he didn't break loose on a hill. Oh, poor Trevor, sighed Jemco.
Puffing through the country, I felt a bump on the track. Maybe Trevor's flat truck broke loose there.
I will phone Sir Topham Hatt at once, replied the Mayor. Meanwhile, Trevor was very worried.
I have blocked the line. I hope another engine doesn't come down.
But another engine did come down, and it was Toby. The fat controller had told Toby to push Trevor to the party. Trevor was delighted.
Oh, thank you, Toby.
And Toby rang his bell. At last they arrived at Marin.
Oh, Trevor, I was ever so worried about you,
sighed Edward.
Well, I made it. All thanks to Toby.
Well, let's get this Easter party started,
shouted Harold. That is a good idea, replied Bertie. And everyone enjoyed themselves mostly. And they all enjoyed talking to Trevor, and Trevor enjoyed talking to them. And then they all spoke to Edward as well. Edward and Trevor both agreed that it was the best Easter party ever. That evening, Trevor shut his eyes, remembering the lovely day he had, and then he fell asleep at the field at the bottom of the orchard.